true crime podcast superstar. Christine Schiefer joins our podcast today, and we're talking about The Drowning Pool, which is a murder-based episode.
Yes, and not the band that came out with that Let the Bodies Hit the Floor song.
Let the bodies hit the floor. That one.
Unrelated.
Why did I do that?
I only brought it up because I knew you would.
That's so rude. No, I'm in charge of myself, and I said it and I did it, and I'm responsible for my actions. So, but truly, our first guest episode, Christine is such a delight. You could catch her. I mean, you already know her from And That's Why We Drink, Beach Too Sandy. Yeah. You also know her because she is a published author. Her second book just came out. It's called A Haunted Road Atlas, Next Stop, More Chilling and Gruesome Tales from And That's Why We Drink. And you can buy it now. Right now.
You can buy it. You know that I'm going to be reading it immediately.
And also she's on tour, and it's called the Poor Decisions Tour. Like pouring a drink.
It's very clever. It's clever.
Genius wordplay. I know her as a writer. I know her as an improviser. I know her as a friend. Everyone enjoy this episode of Baywatchers.
Start podcast.
I'm Nicole Mackey.
I'm ZJ Hadley. You're listening to a recap podcast, Drowning in Nostalgia.
Welcome to Baywatchers. Okay, I am so excited you're here for this specific episode, Christine, because it's big murder vibes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, here's the thing. I want to be upfront that I've never seen an episode of this show before in my life.
Thank you.
That's fine.
No, we wanted to ask you.
That's important context.
It is important context. You should know that when we started this, neither had we.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Okay, phew.
Okay, but I want to ask you right here and right now, and ZJ, also please feel free to answer this. On a scale of 1 to 5 red swimsuits, what would you rate this episode? Like just raw dog in a rating, just no experience with the show.
Listen, I'm going to say a 2.5.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. 3. I have no idea.
Yeah. So I
want you to answer first, and then I'll and then I'll answer based on you.
I've seen exactly 7 full episodes of Baywatch in my whole life, and this is the 7th one. And so, based on that, like long range though, but we've seen some real gems. This show is so compelling. And so I would agree. This was like a 2 out of 5.
Oh, that makes me feel better. Again, I was like, oh my God, if you guys say 6 out of 5, I'm going to look like such an asshole.
No, this was dry. These episodes get real interesting.
Okay. Well, so that was my apparently confusion, but I went on to tell everybody in my small circle of family all about how I watched Baywatch and how apparently it's actually a crime series. And everyone went, well, really? My mom was like, I don't remember that. And I said, no, apparently every episode they solve murders. Like, I just happened to think that, the one I watched was kind of evident of all the others. So that's not, so I'm incorrect in that assumption. There's not like a crime it's not like a procedural.
There are a lot of crimes.
Not. Yeah.
It's not?
Okay. The crimes vary.
They're not usually doing detective work as lifeguards.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that, I was like, they never really spun that well because I didn't realize.
But there is a spin-off of Baywatch that is about crime.
Okay, but also this Baywatch that we're watching has a lawyer that is a lifeguard also. So there's lawyer stuff.
Good
Craig.
Point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yes.
We didn't really see a lot of Craig in this episode, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is episode, well, depending on where you watch it. No, I think it's just episode 6, The Drowning Pool.
It's episode 6 if you don't count the pilot. But if you count the pilot, which is a 90-minute film, if you count the pilot as the first episode, then this is episode 7.
Is 40 of those minutes the intro? Because that thing lasted forever.
It's the intro plus B-roll of just the California coast.
It just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh.
Well, and we got a very good 1 minute and 20-second montage in this episode of a woman thinking about what happens. There's a drowning. It's no spoiler alert. It's literally called The Drowning Pool, and it's always a risk. Drowning on Baywatch, always a risk.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're always at the
goes
ocean.
Without saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but we actually got a drowning in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it was big-time murder vibes. Okay. And that's kind of like, I guess the main story is Jill, the drowning. Is it a murder? Isn't it a murder? But I want to say, getting into this episode, I was so excited. about 30 seconds past. We're not talking about the intro credits. Okay. Once that's
We'll
ended,
skip that.
several minutes in. I didn't skip it today. I
No,
watched it.
I didn't skip it. I didn't
Okay.
skip watching it. I just, yeah.
We don't need to.
You can skip the recap. Yeah.
We skip the. We don't need to.
You gave a
recap.
pretty good summation of it earlier.
Yeah. Good. We get into it, and there's two huge celebrities, I would say, featured in this episode right off the bat. I'm going to give you both an opportunity to chime in if you know who this person is.
I'm so bad at any pop culture, let alone
Yay!
80s
Me
pop
too.
culture. Okay.
Me too. And I've been taking a lot of heat for it recently because Nicole went ahead and published a clip to our socials where I failed to list 2 of the Beatles.
Oh yeah, that's rough. That's rough. But listen, I don't judge because I'm the same way. And I have a lot of blind spots because my parents are both from Germany, which will also be relevant.
Ooh,
yes.
Yeah. So I have a lot of cultural blind spots and then some giant spotlights like David Hasselhoff. So
Wait, yes. Let's just talk about that. Speaking of
please.
giant celebrities, I mean, okay, because I knew that you might have familial knowledge.
I'm pretty
That's not
sure
right.
in the only thing my grandmother is leaving me in her extensive will is like she has the vinyl, like the records of all the David Hasselhoff greatest hits. I mean, she obsessed with the Iglesiases and David Hasselhoff. Obsessed this country. And he performed at the Berlin Wall on New Year's Eve, like a few weeks after the wall came down. People started claiming like he helped with the fall of the wall. It's like this whole it's a cultural moment that they had with this guy.
Is your grandmother available to do the pod?
Honestly, she doesn't own a computer, but as long as that's not a problem, yes, she probably would love to be on it.
Fly to her.
I'll reach out. I'll touch base.
Just have her send in some voice memos or something. We'll get
I'll translate
reporter.
for you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wait, so I guess here's another question. Hoff, hot or not?
Not my thing.
Never been your thing, or are you maybe
traumatized.
curious now
Oh, I see.
after having watched this?
No, it's so not my type, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I think maybe like if I met the guy in person, was charmed by him. I just found and maybe if I watch the show more and I'm like, oh, I'm like into you, but this one didn't do it for me. I don't know. What about you two?
What I'm hearing is that she likes legs. She's a legs gal. And
Aha!
Hoff just can't deliver in that area.
Listen, that Jill though.
Oh,
She's
Jill's
a cutie pie.
A
So
straight babe.
if
She
we're
is a
gonna pick
straight up
and
babe.
choose, I think I might go I might
The
swing
Jill
a
route.
certain way on
Yeah.
this episode particularly.
this was a great episode for her. That funeral look when she goes over to give her
Yes.
condolences. Oh, okay. I know that's going to be like a fashion pull from this. It looks,
Mhm.
I don't know. She just looks very like rich. But I don't know-
Yes. Like
yeah.
in that understated, like don't even
Yes.
talk about it way.
Yeah. Like I have so much money, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
This is how I
yes.
look. Yeah. Her hair looked nice, but she looks great the whole episode. Okay. So, well, Hoff wasn't really featured very heavily in this
Yeah, I was
episode, I would
surprised by that.
say.
But it was a
Yeah.
nice break. This was actually the first story. No, I love
The
Hoff, but I
truth
mean,
comes out.
it's the first the episodes we've watched so far have been very Hoff heavy, and we were both surprised because I associated this show with like babes, hot lady babes running on the beach.
Yes,
and,
that's a
and
great
jiggling.
point.
And it's been wall to wall guys,
Mhm.
and this was the first. We've seen a bit of the other lifeguard, Shawnee, but this was the first time we've had a full episode about Jill. So I was really excited to see her and find out what she's
okay,
up
I didn't
to.
know that. Now I'm gonna go watch the rest of the ones you watched and text you.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I have belated updates and thoughts.
We can save you some trouble. We've got a whole podcast about it.
Right. Why don't I just listen to that? You'll probably have the exact thoughts that I do. So
But you'd be watching us and not the babes.
I could do
on-
side by
That's
side
true.
comp,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say about the celebrities featured in this episode. Okay, first off, we're at the episode opens on an old man and then 2 other people.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't tell immediately like what their relationship.
No
Oh no,
clue.
I guess the episode opens on Jill with the unhoused man, and she gives him a
Okay, that's who I
cheese-
thought you meant at first, but yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that definitely
Prune
happens.
Danish.
Ew,
Ew.
coffee and a prune.
No, I'm
Danish?
sorry. It was half of a prune Danish, which means she was fucking hungry and ate the half of this poor like man's breakfast and the only food he gets.
Just give him a whole Danish.
She bought a Danish for herself and split half of it off to
Okay.
him.
Why don't you just buy 2 Danishes if you know you're going to go see him and bring him an entire coffee?
He got the whole coffee.
Yeah.
Just give him the whole Danish and go back. It probably also just came from the lifeguarding break room.
Very good point. He could probably walk in there and get his own later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did write in all caps, coffee and a prune Danish, no. Because
Absolutely
I just
not.
never heard of a prune Danish, don't want one.
I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but maybe this is why Germans got really on board, because that does feel like something my grandmother would serve genuinely at a breakfast.
If you're going to have coffee and a prune Danish, have it in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's the only appropriate spot.
Yeah. Okay. So we get that little, we get to know Jill in that way, I suppose. And then we get into like meeting the people whose actions are going to drive this episode. And that is Mr. Derek's dad, Mr. Benton. Okay.
Benton.
Derek Benton, who I didn't realize was the son at the time. But
I didn't either. I didn't.
Yeah,
I
I had a really hard time with
he made
images.
eyes at the mom.
It was
Yes.
very strange.
And I was like, oh, they're going to kill this man together because they're lovers. And then you find out he's a son. And I go, oh, this family's weird.
I thought, is this like the tennis coach or something? When the husband is like, I'm going for a swim. You can take her to the gala. And I was like, oh, he like knows that they're hooking
That
up
would
on
have
the
been
down
a
low.
great spin, though.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I
if we
want to
zhuzh
watch
it
that
up.
episode.
Yeah,
And then
me
it was
too.
her son.
It was her
You
son.
should write a spec script.
Yeah.
Baywatch, yeah.
Of this. Okay, but do you, I guess either of you don't know who Derek is in the world of popular culture. He is also, and I know this only because I've been rewatching this series on Netflix. His name is Christopher Rich, aka he plays Brock Hart in the show Reba.
Oh, I never watched Reba.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's the husband. Okay. Then
So-
I think
No, but that's on me. Again, I'm the worst person because I don't even get the references that are meant to like help me get the first reference. It's just really sad is what
No
it
one's
is.
watching Reba except Nicole.
so many people are watching Reba. I made a TikTok about it and it has so many views and also on
Wow.
Instagram.
So it's relevant. Okay. I mean, listen, you know better
It just
than
came
I do.
back. And Reba has a new show coming out and he's probably going to be on it also because also this other lady's on it. Anyway, we don't need to spend a
I
lot
love
of time
that
on that.
ZJ tries to like cut you down and you're like, actually, you're like completely
I'm like,
wrong
no,
for
you're
all the
wrong.
pop culture reasons.
It's
And
true.
apparently
That
we're
makes
both wrong.
sense.
Okay, then I don't know if you're going to get the second celebrity.
Probably not.
I wanted it to be a guessing game, but it could be anyone, I think, for both of you. So the other celebrity is the resort they're at. That is definitely the Malibu Sands Resort, as seen in Saved by the Bell, where they go for a summer. Stacey Carosi, Mr. Carosi, the whole cast works on the beach. Does no one know this?
Sorry.
No.
I know Saved by the Bell.
Well, clearly you don't,
Well,
because
I've seen it.
I'm not even going to speak. I plead
The episodes
the
I saw were set in a school, though. I'm sorry.
they do a whole summer. They do a whole season with Leah Remini plays
Yeah.
Stacey Carosi, and she's Zach's love interest, and she's kind of like a bitchy. She like comes out from New York, her and her dad, and they buy this Malibu Beach
Ooh.
Sands Resort or whatever. And oh man, okay, I know people are gonna know this though.
Well,
I know people are gonna.
I know
this.
people are.
Yeah,
Other people
it's just
are.
no one here.
I
just
feel
say-
I feel the
okay.
shame. Like my palms are sweating. I know this is bad. I know this is on me.
I'm not ashamed. I'm in Canada and I'm in Toronto, and there's a little show called Degrassi that you might be familiar with. And
Yeah.
Degrassi Street and the school are like 2 blocks that way. Like they're within 5 minutes of my house. Never seen it.
Never seen the show or never seen the building.
Oh,
I
never
see.
seen the
Never
show.
seen the show. I was like,
Never seen
maybe
the
just go
show.
down the street.
Yeah,
Yeah, walk
I don't
down
walk
the
that
street
way.
all the time. Yeah.
Can I tell you something secret? I've never
Yeah.
seen Degrassi or Saved by the Bell.
You've
I like
never
either
seen
one.
Have you
It's
seen
like,
the
and there
Sweet
were
Life?
shows that I watched. It's just I have these weird big pockets where I'm just like missing a bunch of knowledge.
Okay.
I don't know
It
if
must-
it's Catholic school. Like I don't know. There's something Ohio German
I was
parents. I
gonna
have
say
no clue.
it must come down to like what time you got done school and what was
Maybe
on.
or like what time you were watching TV. Yeah.
Or
very
what
good
time you
point.
were born? Because I think I'm significantly older than you.
What time you were born?
Like I'm oldest, then ZJ's a few years younger than me, and then I think you're a few years younger than ZJ. So it's like I get it. Because I was even on the younger end of Saved by the Bell.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better too.
But
yeah.
also, I just hoped that you both watched it. But it's fine that you
I
didn't.
mean, I should, and I feel like I should, but I feel like I've definitely missed the boat. So.
Maybe it's your third podcast.
I mean, it very well could be, or yours, because it sounds
Or
like
mine.
you'd be more prepared for that kind of a conversation.
We already have Knight Rider lined up.
Oh,
For our
man, you guys
follow-on
are
podcast,
busy.
Knight
We're
Riders.
all in on Hoff. So
I'm kind of loving that energy. Yeah.
Here's a thing that I hated. Please tell me if both of you. So we get an immediate murder pretty quickly. Within the first 5 minutes, we get a murder.
Before the murder, the more upsetting thing I wanted to mention is that it's so 90s when they start talking about the big merger before the murder. There was the talk of, I literally wrote, why was everyone in the 90s always talking about the big merger? That doesn't mean anything. I feel like it's one of those tropes that I adore but also hate at the same time. So before the murder, I thought you were going to say merger, and then I was like, oh, the murder, that happened too. But the merger, I wanted to just give a little pat on the back for that. That was a fun little plot point.
Yeah. This show's really good at very high level stereotypical details.
Yes.
We can't ever get into it. We can't spend a lot of
all
time.
surface level.
It's all surface level, so you got to use those tropes, and they rely heavily.
Yeah.
That's the price you pay to have a nice, tightly packed little beginning, middle, and end in each episode. And that's a price I'm willing to pay because I love it. I love
just the full circle.
You sit down, you hear a whole story, and then you're done.
Well, in that way, it is a procedural.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
That's why it is. Yeah, it's very satisfying because we know the second that old man dies and he's dead, we know because, again, this show is very good at showing these dead corpses underwater.
I knew you were going to like that.
It was getting egregious. I knew, Nicole would like that. Nicole probably watched it half speed,
I rewound it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I was like, this is really weird and gratuitous. I mean, I guess maybe were so proud of the shot they just kept reusing the footage. I don't know.
This guy kept his eyes open that whole time.
Maybe he wanted it. Yeah.
And they were glacial. They matched the coloring of the ocean. It was I don't know how they lit that scene so that his face would be dead looking and underwater and looking up. And it was
wild.
It was magnificent.
That's another word for it.
Yes, artful.
Artful. Yes, it was artful. I was I think this episode would have been better had we not seen the scuba diver take the man down.
I totally agree.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I hadn't thought of that, but I think that would have elevated the mystery a bit more because it's all right, when are you guys going to figure it out? We all know already. But we didn't know who it was, I guess. But I think the mystery of it could have just been a heart attack would have worked on the audience.
Yes, because the whole time Hoff keeps bringing that up. He's like, well, it's a heart attack. It's a heart attack. You're like, no, you idiot.
Yeah, and it's what the hell do you know, you old German crooner?
You are mansplaining to Jill, and it is really upset. Yeah, it's no, sir, you're wrong, and we're all gonna find out soon.
Yeah.
Also, I was really taken aback at how much Jill was upset by this death.
Oh,
yeah.
They really okay, but you guys don't know, right? I don't know either, but going forward, maybe they're really aggressively trying to hit a plot point that's going to be a longer arc, right? The way that they had a fucking 10-minute montage of just slow motion.
No, there's a montage. So there is actually a 10-minute montage in every episode.
Good. Okay, so that doesn't mean anything. It's nothing special.
And so far, I have not seen any arc building.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. In 7 episodes, there's been
tight.
I will say this montage was unique in that it had voiceover to it, which was the help.
So
help.
Awkward. Oh, no.
I almost didn't know whether we should count it as our episode montage because of the voiceover was
different.
It
was out of control. I was like, who art directed this? I want to speak to them privately.
I laughed so hard when I heard the help. Help. It was slowed down. It was really slow. It was in the 80s and 90s when it was someone didn't want to appear on camera, so they would change their voice.
Yeah.
It was that voice.
Modulator. Yeah. What they thought we'll hit the underwater button and it'll just make you yeah.
If they didn't slow it down, the montage would have been too short.
Oh,
yeah,
right. We can't have that.
It's got to hit the montage mark, which is approximately 10 minutes.
That's bananas. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it wasn't 10 minutes, but it felt like it. And I just kept thinking, oh, this is still going.
It just
And
wouldn't stop.
it wouldn't stop. And it's like, we get it. She's having a hard time. She knows something's wrong, maybe, but yeah,
She was beating herself up because she wasn't paying attention or she was distracted. But you two skipped over what I thought when you said the merger was the scary thing and you said the murder was the scary thing. I realized this happened sequentially afterwards, but the most upsetting thing that happened in the first few minutes for me was how much time was spent ogling her in the shower.
Oh, okay.
There's like
this
2
guy,
minutes.
this fucking guy that they're using as a weird vehicle for us to be like, oh, she's so pretty, like this creepy dude. Oh
Fred?
my, what? Fred. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oi, that was awkward. I mean, the whole thing was just like, okay.
So, like, first of all, I don't want to victim blame, but close that door when you're showering.
Yeah. I
Oh.
mean, it was not an ideal. It was
She's wearing
like
her swimsuit.
someone removed the door or something.
Yeah, she's
I
wearing her
don't know.
swimsuit, but like, it was still pretty hot.
Yeah. Well, it's meant to be. It's still Baywatch. I think we forget sometimes that like the whole, we're still watching Baywatch.
I think like, well, but what if they had just filmed it without like that weird guy being like, "Ugh," you know,
Yeah.
like
that's
so
the thing. It
slimy.
was
Like that made me feel slimy.
It
You know
was
what I mean?
gross.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you're just filming her privately and we're watching it like, oh, this is part of the show and it's sexy, whatever. But like having this weirdo, it's like, I don't want to be
Exactly.
that. I don't want to look
Yeah.
through his eyes. This is so creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was an odd choice. And I think maybe they were trying to make him kind of this like weirdo. And I was like, that man is a predator, guys. Like, that's
He is. He's a
full-on
predator and a con artist.
Yeah.
And
He's like really a troubling character. But I think they
Yeah.
were trying to play like the goofy part, you know?
a couple of times after discovering that this is the B plot, so we're not spoiling anything, but like a couple of times after revealing that this guy is a con artist who impersonates different careers, Hoff literally goes like, we got to do something about Fred. And I'm like, yeah, it's call the police, call the FBI.
Arrest him, put him in prison. This is, he's pretending to know CPR. This is just so weird, this whole thing. And then at the end, he's a police officer, and I'm like, "Meh, meh." It's like such a comedy sitcom kind of button. And
and Hoff is just like, oh, you again.
Yeah,
and I'm
you
like,
silly goose.
again, the FBI.
I loved it.
CIA needs to get involved. You loved it. Nicole loved it.
I loved the joke at the end of him. Him
That
being
was.
like,
I mean, it was very funny. But yes, and I feel like they did a good job with that. But then when it's like, oh, he blurs the line between like, wow, now he's doing very predatorial things, and I feel a little icky about him.
yeah.
But, you know, he can be a goofball sometimes.
No,
and
it was
funny.
definitely when he's on the beach and someone's drowning. I'm like tight butthole because I'm like, well, he can't save anyone.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
What are you
But
doing
couldn't
here?
you? Okay, the lifeguards are gonna get upset, but the water was knee deep and he had a flotation device. Are we sure that anyone couldn't save someone in that situation?
And also during that scene, I thought it was so silly that the person he was saving kept saying, what kind of a lifeguard are you? And I'm like, someone's saving your mother effing life?
But you're either drowning or you're capable of chastising the lifeguard. Like,
Yes.
I can't imagine.
Then walk out, you weirdo.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
why are
If
you
you can
insulting
complain.
his? Because if he were a real lifeguard, like, that's a weird thing to yell at somebody who's pulling you out of the water.
Yeah.
What kind of a lifeguard are you?
Ow, my arm! You're being
Ow,
too
my arm
rough.
is like, you're drowning. Oh my God. We'll never get over that.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, is it Munchausen? Does he have like Munchausen, Fred?
No,
Or is that you make yourself sick?
No, that's the sick. That's when you
Yeah.
make yourself sick. And
What
by
is it? Yeah, by
that-
proxies you make someone else
Someone
sick.
else, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, but it is like a Munchausen-y type thing
It's
where
like
you're like
the Catch Me If You Can, right? Like he just like impersonates all
Oh.
these people. I don't know.
Yeah.
he might be a pathological liar.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
that
yeah,
could be
is that
it.
Yeah.
Well, is he? Because I feel like he genuinely wants to do this job. I'm like, you would not have me out there fake lifeguarding for no paycheck.
For what? For a sunburn?
Well, that's
no.
But like wanting to do a job is different from stealing the uniform and then calling in and faking that you are someone
That's
else,
weird.
impersonating someone else to get assigned a tower and then pretending
Because
to
it
be a
wasn't like
lifeguard.
he believed he would be a really good, like he just was kind of like, I just want to do it really bad. And then like got over it really fast. I don't really know.
Yeah, he did get over
He
it.
feels
He's
like a celebrity stalker. Like he feels like he'd be the kind of guy to like convince himself he's in a relationship with somebody.
Yes,
you
that's
know, and then
exactly
like,
it.
show up and be like, I'm different from all your other stalkers. Like he just gives me very troubling vibes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a fan, I should
I'm
just
sorry,
say.
Nicole. I know you're really in love with this guy, and
I'm
I know like
I'm
he's
all in
your
for Fred.
character of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he's in the next episode
Oh
playing
no.
something else.
He is in a couple of episodes. I did look him up because at the beginning it said there was a special guest, and then I was afraid I would come under fire for not knowing who it
Haha,
was. So I
I didn't
frantically
even catch
Googled
that.
a bunch of people to try to figure out, and I never pieced it together. However, I did find out that Fred was also in B Movie.
Oh.
Is that
What?
helpful? Yeah, I don't know. Seems to have a pretty substantial
Wow,
part
this
in
is
B-Movie.
groundbreaking.
Wait, BEE movie?
Yeah.
Oh, like the animated one?
Right. Yeah, he's a voice actor in it.
I like how
Oh.
ZJ and I are like, duh, Nicole. Like everyone knows
duh.
all about the B movie.
B-movie.
What's he?
I'm thinking, is this like, is
He
B
played
movie like
Seinfeld.
not another teen movie? I was like, I don't think I saw that one.
There might also
Easy
be.
A, the B movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could get a little confusing. I feel
Yeah,
like.
just a letter. Oh my goodness.
No, the one about
Okay.
the big B.
Yeah, which
that-
B is he?
That's a pretty fucked up movie also. That movie
I've never
is
seen it, but I
about-
don't feel like I
Oh.
want to.
It is about a bee and a woman who fall in love.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh,
That
it's
sounds like a-
bestiality?
Yes.
bestiality. That feels like the next installment of like My Strange Addiction. You know, like when like I'm in love with a bee. Like it feels
Yeah.
like one of those unrealistic TV tropes.
Oh yeah, like the guy who's in love with his car or whatever.
Right. Or the
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower. That yeah.
Yeah, it's the next one. Well,
Sorry, she's not just in love with the Eiffel Tower. I'm pretty sure she married it.
You know
Oh,
what?
sorry.
Two things can be true. You're right.
That's true.
She married it, and hopefully they're still in love.
I hope so.
TBD.
Oh no.
Oh no.
When is a good time for me to interject with my fashion observations? Namely, that I could not get a handle on the weather in this episode because there are people sunbathing in bikinis next to people wearing jeans and leather jackets.
You know what?
That's a choice.
Excellent point.
That's a choice though. People are going to wear, if you're a jeans and leather jacket person, you're always a jeans and leather jacket person. You know what I mean?
Even at
You're-
the beach.
Yeah,
On a
you're not
hot
wearing a
summer day.
swimsuit. They don't make those in leather, as far as I know.
well.
But Jill is one of them. Jill walks around all day in her bathing suit, and as soon as she gets off duty, she puts on jeans and a sweater and goes and sits by the beach. So
Yeah.
which is it? Were you freezing all day or are you hot
Hmm.
now?
Well, she's probably, because she's like going in, you know how there's like no shirt, no shoes, no service?
Yeah, she
Right?
has to follow the law. Come on.
That's probably what, she had to go run errands and stuff.
Yeah, I bet everyone in town was like, "No, please take your shirt back off."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if it's not that rule doesn't pertain to you.
Yeah. What other fashion things? Is that it?
That was it. I noticed when she was
How
well,
cold
I wrote,
was it?
I wrote down
Fashion
several examples.
observation.
I
I
love
wrote down
it.
several examples of times when I thought the clothing was not fitting the weather.
Wasn't fitting. Yeah.
Just wool sweaters, jeans, leather jacket, bathing suit, etc. But my favorite outfit was shown for like one frame, and it
Oh.
was Shawnee, the other lifeguard.
Is he the one that's
she-
kind of like getting hit on and invited to the party?
No, that's Eddie.
Oh, Eddie. Okay.
Shawnee's the lady
is a
with the-
woman.
Yeah, the blonde
has a
hair.
unibrow.
She has
oh,
a
yes,
unibrow.
of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And at one point they cut to her and she's like handing somebody something and she's wearing like a lime green thing with like cutouts. And it
Ooh,
was
I missed that.
gorgeous. I don't know
Missed
what
it.
it was, but I'll go back and grab a screenshot.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
love to see that. And then like leather jackets. And it's just, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is a weird wardrobe overall.
Yeah.
They must
you.
have filmed this in
I was wondering.
like they must not film it in the peak of summer because they're in public places and it's easier if they film it when it's like cooler, and so that's why
Yeah.
people are probably wearing, it's probably nothing
It's
to do
probably
with the story.
actually cold, but they're
Yeah.
pretending it's not. Right.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. So the man drowns. I guess this is going back before the montage too, but what happens when all the lifeguards on the beach are all taking care of one person?
Great
Like,
question.
What happens with all the towers? Like, you know how she was following him, following the
Yes.
dead body on the carrier up to the ambulance or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's like there's too many people around this one person. Like, what's going
Now
on?
that
the
would
rest
have
of
been the
beach?
perfect time to commit a freaking crime.
Exactly
Yeah.
what I was thinking. And for the amount that she's beating herself up for 12 seconds that it took her
Yeah.
like longer to get to this guy or
Yeah.
whatever is like if it's expected that you might sometimes not be at your tower at all, then like she still got to him pretty quick, right?
Right.
I was really
If
curious.
this is normal
what
behavior
are,
to just wander away for half an hour.
what are the expectations in response time on these lifeguards? Like, are they
Mm.
really supposed to catch everything immediately?
Maybe not, but that's the battle. An internal battle with herself. You know, she's like, I'm better than that. This is what I gathered from all the many times they basically told me that.
I'm better than that. And also, don't they say like this is your first loss? But then it's like, I thought she wasn't a rookie. I thought she'd been there a while. Like she's
I think she's just really good. I think she had a perfect track record.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
that's why she's
So this
upset.
is also an ego issue.
yeah. Okay, ego. Maybe that's why they say you should see Dr. Rappaport, the shrink. Or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, this is your ego battling.
I don't need to see a shrink.
No, but she did definitely. Anyone who has, if someone dies on your watch, you should have just
And
a
you're
quick
pulling them
little-
out of the
yeah.
water. I mean,
and mouth to mouthing them.
yeah.
And they're dead already. Like, no, you need to talk to someone about this. This is going to weigh on your heart. Also, maybe another sign was she was filling out her incident report with Crayola markers. I don't know if anyone else clocked that,
How
but
did I
that's
miss
another
that?
sign.
I'm
Was
so
it the
mad at
smelly
myself for
ones?
missing that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was the smelly ones, but I'm like, she's unwell. It's like Jill's already up in your office, like sweaty crop top Hoff runs in with Craig, and it's like, oh, Jill's fine. She's already up in your office, and she's like frantically filling out an incident report with Crayola
Crayon.
markers. I'm like, someone give her the day off.
I wonder, she's clearly not well, no matter what she tells you. I do wonder, I'm like, did they have like a sponsorship? Like Crayola spot? They were like, we don't have any good sponsors yet. It's only episode 6. We got to get some like
Product
rose
placement.
art, whatever the other off-brand Crayola was back in the day.
Oh, it was so good. Oh my gosh.
So she's in the office there, Crayolaing her way through the incident report, and they refer to the fact that they've got the autopsy report
already.
Is the already at all? Why are they sending the autopsy report to the lifeguards?
Did they do it like on the beach? Right? Like what? How? Yeah, you're right. It's been like a day, right? Or half a day?
Because maybe they requested it, like, because Ellerby's involved in this episode, and he's an actual police officer. So, like, maybe that's how.
Oh,
they're
I
able
see.
to
Like,
get
how did
it.
the lifeguards get a hold of it?
I don't think they go back. Like, if a first responder picks someone up in an ambulance and takes them to the hospital, and they die at the hospital, do they then go to those first responders later to be like, we wanted to let you know what this person died of? No,
we wanted to make photocopies of the autopsy
your
report for
part
you,
is done.
so you can
don't-
show your friends at work. Like,
know.
good point. That doesn't track.
Do you want to frame this at work?
Yeah, you can laminate it if you like. Yeah, that's very weird. I hadn't really I clocked it a little bit.
Especially, especially because they were super rich, and I thought super rich people want to keep stuff like
they
that
should
on
be able to
lock.
pay
Like,
their.
They're not going to let the details of their rich family member dying
Too important.
be
The big
released to a bunch
merger's
of-
coming soon.
Yes, this could put the merger
we
in
can't have
jeopardy.
that.
Yeah. No, truly. I think also it's weird that rich people used to be named Chuck.
Yeah.
That was the cousin's name.
Yeah, Derek, Chuck.
Derek and Chuck and Mr. Benton, which Mr. Benton sounds like a rich person.
Definitely tracks.
Or what are they? Why am I blanking on this? A butler.
Oh, a butler.
Oh, Mr. Bent. Yeah. That does fit too.
Yes. Maybe because it's so close to Mr. Belvedere.
Oh,
don't know.
could be, or like Jenkins Benton. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's got a slant rhyme. No, it doesn't. Not even.
No. Okay. Then we get to. Okay, I can't exactly remember when this is, and if you want to talk about something that happens before this, let me know. But there's the part where I think it's before they kind of start dating, and Derek is having a conversation with Jill. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe Jill and Mitch are there. And he's like, oh, what about me? You think I had anything to do with it? And he goes, and then there's a pause and he goes, I didn't. No, murder 101, you don't just flat out say you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, there was I don't know if it's the same conversation, but there's a point where Mitch and Jill are talking to him and they're like implying that he did it. And he goes, do you think that I did it? And then he doesn't say I didn't. He says, I loved my father.
Yes, that part got me
And I was
too.
like, that's not a no.
I felt really weird about that. I was like, okay.
But
Yeah.
I also didn't think he did it based on their timing shenanigans. They're like, you would have had time to get into the
didn't-
water, go down there, come back. No, he wouldn't. Who's
His hair
totally
was
agree.
dry.
His hair was dry. Yeah. You know
in the
what?
steam room?
Great point.
Just
Oh.
generally. If he had
Oh.
snuck away to murder someone and come back, his hair would have been wet.
Oh, I see. But in the steam room, it was only going to get a little moist, but not as wet as
Oh,
it
yeah,
would
'cause
have.
he was in the steam room. Yeah.
I like you're like his hair was dry generally. It's like it just looked like he needed a hot oil treatment or something.
His hair looked dry. Those
It's
split
been-
ends were
yeah.
very distracting.
Yeah. Come on, man. You're on Baywatch.
I'll be honest, like I was like, I mean, I guess he didn't do it because they're just so hard implying that he did probably do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just feel like they don't have any real proof or evidence at all. Like they're just like, you could have done it because of the timing, and then they get into this big fight, and I'm like, what do you? It just didn't feel very airtight, you know?
Yeah.
And
No,
also,
I agree.
But why were they dating? And even if she
That
was
was
dating
weird.
him to get the information, what I really kept coming back to was like, bro, get some self-respect. If your girlfriend's accusing you of murder, don't date her.
Of your
Don't
own
invite her
dad
over.
that she tried to save and is also kind of blaming herself for his death. Like this has got to be a really messy couples counseling.
It's messy on everyone's side. It's like, what is wrong with you that you want to bang this dude you think killed his dad?
Yes.
That's
But I thought she was, at first, I certainly thought that she was just hanging out with him to do detective work.
I did too.
Oh, I never thought. I thought she just was like, oh, swoon.
I mean,
And then
you were right, Nicole. I misread the situation as, oh, she's playing some games. And then it was like, no, she
Yeah,
just
it
has a
was.
crush on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's
Yeah, that-
upset that Mitchell, which is what Ellerby calls Mitch in one part of this episode, he goes, Mitchell, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I love that he called him Mitchell. I think everyone should call him Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Mitchell
you get down
Buchanan.
here right now.
Yeah, Mitchell. Well, and also they do keep planting seeds, even though we're kind of like, okay, the timing thing, dry hair, whatever. I don't think this guy did it. They're still trying to get us to think he did it because they're like, well, there is a motive. He could have gotten $18 million.
Yeah, but they list off like 20 other people with motive.
Just, they do? I thought it was
Yeah.
just the mom and him.
And there was like, and the place that he was leaving money to, like there was just like, if you're rich, a lot of people have a vested interest in killing you.
True. But also 18 million, was that a lot back then? Because it's not a lot today. Worth killing someone over? Not in my opinion.
If you're already
18
rich.
million? Oh my God. Well, I mean, I don't think it's worth it, but I certainly have covered enough cases where like 100 grand is worth it or 50
Oh,
grand.
yeah.
So
God,
for other
that's true.
people.
Depends how much
So-
money you're starting with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess it depends ratio wise, like how much like is he in debt? I don't know. But 18 million, it sounds like a lot to me, but
It is a lot. I don't have $18 million.
I'm not filthy rich like you, Nicole.
I don't
You're honest.
murder anyone for
Just a
less
drop in
than
the
50.
bucket.
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying, especially if it's like your family money and you're already like in with your family. Like, why? Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you're already
bullcrap.
spending the family money. You already have money.
You're
It's
already
weird.
fine with the money. Like, there's no issue, seemingly,
Yeah.
that we knew about.
Yeah. Wait, so was the mom never involved? No.
See, she was so shady, but wasn't she sleeping with the guy who did it?
The cousin?
No, that's her nephew.
Well,
me.
that doesn't mean anything in some
It's
places.
true, and it might only be through marriage. I don't really know.
The
Yeah, yeah.
nephew did it. I thought so she's sleeping with the lawyer? Or wait.
No, I don't think Jill. Jill's sleeping
Oh, no, not
with,
Jill. Sorry. The
old
mom.
lady?
I'm like so confused. Who's the
I
other
don't-
guy?
The
I don't think she's
dad,
sleeping
the
with
guy
anyone.
who drowned.
Oh, I thought she was having an affair. I think I invented that storyline because
No.
I thought it was more interesting than like her just
Yeah.
disappearing into the back.
Because
Same.
in the beginning they imply that
looks.
she's sleeping with the guy, but that's her son.
but then when she comes down the stairs with the cousin, they also have a weird vibe.
Well,
Like,
maybe that's why I thought like, oh, okay, there's something.
do you think that actress was actually banging both
Oh!
those dudes during the
You may have like seriously hit the nail on the head with
Good
that.
for her.
sexual tension?
Get it?
Good
That
for
you know
her.
what? Because it made
Good for
us
her.
question what was going on. So it's doing something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was like, these people are too horny for what the storyline is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to know what like behind the scenes at Baywatch was like. I really don't.
I do.
You're both like wrong answer.
Although
Depends.
recently, can we talk about the Jeremy, what's his name, article that 65 people have sent me
What is
Jeremy
Yeah.
Jackson.
Jeremy Jackson, they did recently, the new documentary has recently come out where a man willingly reveals that when he was a child on the set of Baywatch, he would sneak in and sniff the cast members' bathing suits.
Yeah.
Hello?
Don't tell anyone that.
Don't tell anyone that. And if you're one of my friends, please stop sending it to me. Please. I don't
If
want to
you're
know.
one of your enemies, then
Yeah.
you're just going to keep getting
And I
it.
guess keep going.
Wow, that
Oh.
is dark
Yeah. I don't
in a
like
very
that.
unique way.
I don't like that he said it, and I don't like that TMZ's reporting it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I don't
I
wanna
don't like that
keep
he
talking
did
about
it.
it.
It's like the
Yeah.
doing it and then 30 years later thinking it's a good idea to tell people you did it are both problematic behaviors.
So bad. Yeah, it just compounds on the bad. Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
It's such a bad choice.
Ugh.
I do like that in Hoff's office, in his office.
Ooh. Does that ever catch on, I wonder? We'll see.
Right.
I'm only going to refer to it as his office
As
moving
office.
forward. We know that the cousin throws the wife, Mrs. Benton, under the bus. He outs the
Right.
his aunt or whatever and is like, oh, she scoot. Why didn't you ask
Oh,
if she scuba dives
yeah.
after she leaves the office?
I
And
literally
so
thought they were banging, and now I'm like,
I
oh,
know.
right. I guess that is her nephew.
it's
But
really
wait.
confusing.
Was it the nephew who said that or the dude that Jill's dating?
No, it
It
was
was
the
the
nephew.
I think it was the
Okay,
nephew.
got it,
Because I was like, oh, that must be her lover boy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because they were interrogating them too. Because they had already
Right.
maybe ruled out. Or they just were like, we need to ask everybody that might have any knowledge.
They're like, we need 40 more minutes to fill in this episode, so we got to keep asking the same
But
people
also,
different questions.
why are lifeguards in charge of solving this crime?
This is the wildest thing, especially when they're like, well, you could have had time to get up and then swim and then go back. And I'm like, you're not a police officer. What are you doing?
That does make the mom seem complicit because if my husband died and some lifeguards were investigating, I'd be like, stop.
and
I've
we're
hired a
interrogating
PI.
me? Like, hello?
And
What?
they're-
Go to
and
your
I'd have
job,
a lawyer with
weirdo.
me at the interrogation. And
And
it kinda
they
falls
like
apart.
show up at your house and stuff. Yeah, that's a really good point. I would be like, did you do it? Like, I think I would be like, what? You're being shadier than anyone else.
Yes. Okay, so we've concluded definitively that the mom is banging the nephew.
Absolutely.
That they're only related through marriage.
Yeah.
And
Ideally.
that they conspired together.
Yeah. Also, the lifeguards are not only lawyering anymore. They're also, the lifeguards are detectiving
Mhm.
and they're also physicsing because Jill's doing.
Oh my God, I screenshot that. Or I didn't screenshot because I knew Tubi or whatever wouldn't let me. So I took a picture of my screen because I was like, I gotta look at this.
What? And then Hoff's going over it. He's like, the numbers look good. I'm like, how does everyone know how to do
look
this?
good. Like, I'm like, what kind of trigonometry is this?
Especially when we know from a previous episode that Hoff failed a lifeguarding lieutenant exam that was all physics.
Which makes me literally think he looked at it and went, yep, checks out. And had zero fucking clue.
Well, fortunately, it was a Crayola drawing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It was
So it
done
was
in
pretty
crayon
easy
anyway.
to understand.
I have
like,
never seen anything like it. I zoomed in and I was like, what are all these formulas? Like, so it literally said C squared. And I was like, what are you doing? This can't be anything. But I really want to know who was the prop guys or whoever was like, hey, finally something I can do that comes in handy, some trigonometry trick I have. I have no idea who wrote that, but I wish I did.
You weren't using your trigonometry, your deep trigonometry skill set to zoom in and make sure her work was accurate.
I took my protractor and
That's
yeah.
good because we close off every episode of this with some math equations
math
that we do verbally. So.
Wait, is this a dream? Is this a really bad dream I'm having?
It's a
It feels
nightmare.
like a really bad dream.
Oh my God. Okay. Then we get, I'm just going to hop to the end unless there is anything. And then we'll come back and let's talk about Fred a little bit.
Yeah,
aside.
there's one thing I wanted to add real quick, which is just a short blip. But during the flashback, I just looked back at my notes and I said, not the hand waving out of the water. There's a point where it's just this slow motion drowning man. And he's just waving. And I'm like, is this supposed to be sad? It feels like satire. I think it's because it's so OG, cheesy.
Yes.
It just, it almost feels like a big joke. But anyway, the hand, I just couldn't, that really got me good.
See,
It
I
does.
find this so relaxing because there's no subtext to
That
this TV
right.
show. It's
Not
not
as
text.
deep.
They
It's
just
not so
tell you
deep.
what you need to know. You take it in. You're
I
done.
love that.
But I feel like it's gaslighting me because I'm always looking for the
Th-
subtext.
That's true. They do make you feel like there's supposed to be subtext you're picking up on, which is probably why I invented all these affairs and things in my head. Because I'm like, oh, that
Yes.
must be what they're implying. But
And
it's
it's
like
like,
very
nope.
shallow.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just the cousin killed the dad and it's Silver.
Yeah, no,
And
they're
you're
just
like, oh.
banging in the dressing rooms after the show. It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with the plot. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's not character sexual tension. It's
see.
IRL sexual
IRL
tension.
actor tension. Yeah.
Actor tension. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, but then we do get we have to talk about Jill's like fight scene with
Yes.
the cousin.
So much we do. We have to start by addressing the fact. So they're like, oh hey, they see a video, the family movie video thing, and it
Right.
shows the cousin, and they're all
Yeah.
sitting there together. And he could have been like, oh yeah, I went for a swim. Don't you guys remember? He could have tried to play it off, but
Oh,
no, he
but no.
immediately hits his cousin over the head with a vase or something, and allowing her to run away. So it's like it's just a terrible plan.
It just.
But what upset me so incredibly much was that she's running away from him. There's a chase scene. He's chasing her on foot, and she runs into the water.
I could not. I was like, they really didn't.
Why would you? And I assume that they're saying because she's such a strong
She
swimmer
wants
that
to
she
show
has a
off her
better
swimming
chance.
prowess.
Yeah, to like outswim him. But like, what
to
a terrible
run
idea.
directly into. It's like running into something much slower. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't track. Yeah.
And once again, the beach is deserted.
Yeah.
So there's no one. But like, run to a house, a store, literally anywhere with people.
A plank of wood. Anything.
Sure.
Literally.
Just throw sand in his eyes.
Sand.
That'll work.
He grabs his fins. I wrote this is probably
He
bad,
grabs
but
his fins. See? Oh my gosh.
that's when you know you're not going to outswim him, even if you're a lifeguard. He's going to have his fins, and now
Wait, when does he grab his fins?
I don't know, but he grabs them as that's why he's able to catch up to her.
So you're
in
telling
the water.
me that it's as soon as the chase starts, that
Yeah.
he had the foresight to be like, she's gonna run into the water?
It might
Or
be
was it
down,
on the way? I think
it's
on the way, he's like, I'll grab my fins and then I
Yeah.
can keep up
But
with her.
why did he think she would go in the water? Because it was a really dumb thing to do.
Because I think, okay, this is just my guess, is that there's no one on the beach because this is like fancy rich people.
Okay, I did wonder
Malibu.
if this was a private area.
Yeah,
Mhm.
where it's like there's no regular beach people here, okay? So it's just dead. And then it's in the evening. And then it's like cliffs because they had to go down all their stairs and stuff. And then I think they get to the beach and then it's like there's nowhere for her to go.
So wait, what ends up happening? So he does catch up to her. They start struggling. I'm trying to remember like the outcome, like how this all unfolded.
He catches up to her, he pushes her underwater. She reaches up, she pulls him down underwater. So now they're both underwater. And then she like pushes herself back up on his shoulders. But and then they're struggling.
There was part of it where she got away from him and then he pretended to drown.
Oh,
yeah.
that freaked me.
That's
the
where
F
I wrote
out.
that. Oh, that's where I wrote the all caps. Thank you. That's where I wrote the all
But
caps.
it was crazy because he's just like, flail, flail, flail. Oh no, I'm dead.
Oops.
And he goes straight over to him.
I'm sleeping.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to save a murderer
Who's trying to kill you?
who's actively just tried to kill you and who knocked your
and just
boyfriend
maybe killed
out.
your boyfriend. Yeah, it felt so like, oh wow, she's such a golden hearted. And I'm like, no, you're just being so dumb. So dumb. And then when you go, surprise, oh my God, I felt like that was like some fucking Stanley Hotel. What's a Shining energy? Like, just like, I really got a little bit of a jump scare out of that. And I thought, well, this show is not what I expected.
A real here's Johnny.
Here's Johnny. That's what I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
She just got bamboozled.
Also, he was dead.
When?
Like, didn't he actually die? It showed his face under the water just like the dad. And then he was like, but then he wasn't dead.
Well, okay,
Oh.
when they were pulling him out, so one person has Jill and the other, I guess Ellerby's helping Jill and Hoff's helping the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But water spurts out of his mouth at one point. And I couldn't figure out if it was intentional to show that he was regurgitating water and alive,
like he
or if
survived.
it was just like incidental.
Oh.
Or if someone was dead and you jostled them, could you squirt water
Could they
out of
just
their mouth? I
be
don't know.
spilling water out? Ew.
Oh, but then he was kind of walking.
It doesn't dribble down; it spurts.
but then at the end he's kind of walking.
Yeah, you're kind of
So-
pulling him.
so
So I
he's
think they're
alive.
probably trying to show like
He's
he's
alive.
alive. Yeah.
That's what I
but just
think.
barely.
But just barely. But yeah, he did sink onto the wall. I'm like, that's quite a bit of acting if she's trying to run away from you and can't even see you, pretending to die over there. If that's what's happening, like, was that him pretending to die and then he like jumped?
Yeah.
Weird.
He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fake her out.
But I'm gonna
she's-
play it so well.
It's how all the serial killers do it. They're like, I'm injured. I need your
Ow,
help
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, fine. It's like, no, just leave them. They're
Just leave
capable.
them.
And if
Exactly.
they're not, then it's their time.
I hope in
to
these
go.
30 years that this plot point wouldn't work. I hope. Like, it's till now, I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I hope since
Yeah.
then, if someone tried to write that into a show, we'd all be like, what?
Yeah.
I hope it's
Well,
outdated.
Jill's vindicated because her boyfriend wasn't the person who killed the dad.
Do you think they're gonna last?
I was gonna say no, not anymore. Now that she knows he's innocent, she's
Absolutely
like, this
not.
wasn't spicy for me anymore. I don't have like inner conflict about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't find him a very compelling character anyway. So I was like,
No. I also
kinda
thought they
boring.
looked like brother and sister.
yes, they looked
which was
related. I
also
thought that
confusing.
too. And I guess a lot of
Oh.
people on this show probably are gonna look familiar, or similar, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, part
she's
of it is
blonde.
because they only hire blonde, blue-eyed people.
like white blonde people. Yeah,
yeah, it's it does get pretty homogenous.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just wasn't into that pairing, but Jill seems so much more complex. You know.
Yeah.
Have you seen her brood?
It's the first time I've seen her at all. She's barely on the
So
show.
this is like her big moment for the
Yeah.
first time. Mm.
Yes, this is her first big moment, and thank God, because up until now, she's kind of been this like ditzy. She's either been complaining about the rookie lady and
Yeah.
having to help her, or she's been like weirdly flirting with the lifeguard. His name's Trevor. We barely saw him in this
Uh-huh.
episode, but he is the lifeguard for the private beach club next
Oh,
door.
I see.
So, and he's a jerk. And so, like, she's always kind of like, oh my God, but you're not supposed to like him. And so
Mhm.
she looks like a
So
ditzy.
this is a weird
Yeah.
twist. Then
It's weird, but I'm glad she got this.
They're like,
I'm glad
here,
she
we'll
got this
open with
episode.
her feeding a homeless man a prune Danish, and
Yeah.
then everyone will know. Oh, we love her now. Yeah,
Yeah, heart of gold.
Heart of gold.
Lifeguard with a heart of gold.
Oh.
I did write down Mitch has never looked sexier than when he apologizes for doubting her, first
Yep,
of all. That
give you that.
sincere. I took a picture with
Did
my
you
phone.
really?
Yeah.
A picture on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, of my screen because you can't take screenshots on
Aw.
your computer. And I was just like, oh, he looks so good. And also, this could change because we're only 7 episodes in. But I love that Mitch's vibe is just like dad vibes. He's not hitting on any
Right,
of these lifeguards, and he's not married. He's divorced. So
I will say I did quote one line where he said, I called her half a dozen times and she didn't answer. And then he said, me too. And I know she's home. And I'm like, okay, guys, like maybe she wants some space. Like I was like, that's a little aggro for 2 people you work with to be like, I mean, and I guess it's more relevant. They're part of this whole situation. But I was like, leave her alone maybe
Yeah.
if she doesn't answer the phone after 12 calls. Like, please.
Or like, do you need a wellness check? Go over there physically.
Right,
if
or
you're
that.
worried
Like
about
if you're
her.
really that worried. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both like, yeah, I also called her 12 times. I'm like, what?
Ugh.
That's a little weird, I
Well,
think.
but this is back in
maybe.
the day when you might have not been home and not heard the phone ringing. So
Very
maybe
good
our
point. And also
standard-
if
Yeah.
you're like not, well, he said, I know she's home. So it's like, well,
That's true.
that's a little creepy.
What's
to
that
me.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is creepy.
But yes, you're right. I was surprised how little of the like, I thought there was going to be more like schmooze, like slimy stuff. No, I didn't feel like
No.
that at all about him.
That's kind of like a
Mhm.
refreshing thing about this
is.
show so far is that also Craig is married, so he doesn't hit on young girls either. Although the pilot, someone makes advances towards him and he's not very clear about like no. And it was a little creepy, but he's not chasing these
Right,
women at least. And so it's just very refreshing
That is
that
'cause
like
that could have been a very easy plot point, I think, to just
think
kind of
so.
have
Yeah.
humor, quote unquote. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's talk about Fred cosplaying the meaner maid and cosplaying a lifeguard and basically his general just like stolen valor, if that's what you would call it.
Stolen valor.
Stolen
My
valor.
lord.
Yeah.
Because we find out from Hoff that he was a fireman at in his history. Like they
Which,
do
by
run
the
a
way,
report.
people who impersonate firefighters are oftentimes, or not oftentimes, but like there's a huge link to arson because they want to like
Oh.
watch or be part of the fire they started. So I'm like, my immediate reaction as the true crime person was like, uh-oh, like nothing good here. Like that is often tied to arson.
But wait,
you're
so what would
impersonating.
that mean in this situation, that he's like a
That I
serial
don't
drowner?
know. That I don't know. To be honest, I thought at first they were going to make him be the murderer. And then I was
Yeah.
like, no, he's too goofy. But I was like,
Yeah.
did he kill this person? And he just wants to be on site to watch as like people are rescued? I thought that was where we were going with it, which is like a more Criminal Minds-esque
Why do they tolerate him at
I don't
all? Why
understand
don't they
it.
just tell him to leave immediately? Like, do they know him before all this goes down?
No.
It felt like they did, but I guess not. Like
I don't.
they're like, oh, this guy again.
He's just kind of around. Well, I think because he's around when Mr. Benton drowned
Right.
and he alerts Jill,
Right.
they're all like, thanks so much. And then he's like, oh. And so I think they know him a little bit from that interaction.
Yes.
And so they're like, oh, thanks, buddy. But then it's just way too much.
Yeah, it goes overboard in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like, they don't acknowledge it when he shows up to Eddie's tower in red shorts. He's wearing a lifeguard uniform already at that point when he takes the book when Eddie gives him like the book on how to be a lifeguard.
Yeah. Is that illegal
I think
wear
it
red
is
shorts on a
illegal. No,
beach?
I don't
I think
so.
it is illegal probably to impersonate
That's what you're
anybody
doing.
because that's fraud. But I don't think the red shorts specifically could be.
They don't
eliminated.
they don't sell like red shorts or swimsuits to the Gen Pop, do they?
Interesting.
What?
Well, yeah, they do.
Oh wait, you have one. Oh yeah, DJ's worn it.
I thought you meant me. I was like, I do? Oh.
But yours says very clearly
Oof.
something on it.
I gotta go ahead and say that I'm not sure lifeguards worldwide wear red, all of them. I
Oh.
understand it's an easy color to see in the water, but I don't think that's a standardized lifeguard
Fair.
uniform by any means.
Yellow could work just as well.
True point.
Yeah, or bright green.
Or like
Orange.
neon, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I liked Fred. I thought he was kind of funny, but also I was really clenched just generally when he was
He
impersonating
just
a
made
lifeguard.
me feel nervous.
All he
Yeah,
did was
same.
ogle people. He ogled her in the shower. Then later he gets binoculars out and he looks at some lady's lacy thong.
Yeah. And he goes,
bikini.
woohoo. It's like,
Ew.
oh, God.
And then
yeah.
that woman gets heat stroke and like passes out on him, and
he's like,
he's
yeah, this
into
is
it.
my dream job. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, God. I just don't understand. The stolen valor is that is very funny. I feel like that is his exact MO. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why they really should call the cops on him, because
Agreed. He's
engaging
now
in
a
lot
police
of
officer.
pattern of criminal behavior that's only going to escalate.
And these aren't like, it's not like you're impersonating an ice cream man, although you should call the cops on someone who
Also,
does that
that's
also.
bad.
But no, my first thought was like, it's not
But
like you're
wait.
pretending you work at a froyo store or something like
Yeah.
totally inane. It's
Target employee.
like, right,
It's
like you're trying to save lives by
Right,
pretending you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you are in
Huge
a
red
position
flag.
of power.
I have a question though. If you impersonate an ice cream man, aren't you an ice cream man?
Whoa. Yeah, I guess there's no certification process probably.
Right? Like if you have the ice cream and you're selling it to people, you're an ice cream man.
As long as you're selling it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you're selling it. If
If
you're
you're
just
just giving it out.
pretending to drive around then I don't know.
Yeah. Or you're a
But
pedophile.
if an ice cream man has a bad day of sales, he's still an ice cream man.
yeah.
So the selling isn't the determining
That's what he tells
factor.
himself when he lies down in bed and can't fall asleep.
I'm the ice
You're
cream
still
man.
an ice cream man.
One tear
No
just
matter
down
what
his
Dad
cheek as he
says.
turns over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This was so amazing. Christine, now that we've talked about it, do you change your initial review or do you stay with the 2.5/3 red swimsuits out of 5?
I'm going to stay with the 3 because
Okay.
I feel like talking about it was and I was like, oh yeah, there were some like bits that were pretty funny and enjoyable, but it was one of those episodes where I was like, man, this is a long, like I was like folding laundry or something. I was like, I finished folding all my laundry and we're still like in the middle of a montage. Like I kept like doing the trackpad and being like, oh my God, there's like another 4 hours. Not really, but it felt so long. And so I was like, wow, they really stretched out some of these like scenes and montages. And even the ending when Hoff's like, I see you. And it just like keeps going. And you're like, man, are they just like strapped for material.
They have to fill a
Yeah.
specific time because that's back when cable.
And I can tell.
Yeah.
I felt it.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Like, I'm sure this was, they had to like really, and I think the style of TV was more in that vein anyway. Like, people were into the kind of like long brooding looks and
Yeah.
romantic montages. So I get it. But I just felt like it was a little bit like, okay, we know that you want me to think that guy did it. I get it. No,
Yeah.
move on.
It was a fluff-filled episode for sure. It was not action-packed. And the B storyline was also a bit weak, which I think didn't help.
Yeah.
What was the B storyline?
That's the guy impersonating.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. His journey.
It was a journey.
His journey to fake
I genuinely
lifeguarding.
thought like these people were all going to be like the same next week. Like, I thought like, oh, well, now next week this guy's going to be okay. So I need to go listen to your show.
I don't know that you'll just get all of our favorite parts about things.
I think I'll just realize like how wildly. I thought this was like, oh, you guys are already very familiar with Fred. Like, I thought I would come on here and you'd be like, oh no, we've watched all about Fred. This is all new stuff.
No,
we've
truly
never
a
seen these.
procedural.
Yeah, we've never seen these people before, and we'll never see them again.
That's really powerful stuff.
Yeah, we won't see the Bentons or the Fred.
Yeah,
or
you
the
might
people
see
with the camera.
Fred in the B movie. We're all going to go watch that later, right?
Oh, we'll hear him. Yeah.
We'll hear him. That's fair. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Christine, thank you so much. Christine, we can catch you on the Poor Decisions tour throughout this fall.
Yeah.
People could get tickets on and that's why we drink.com.
Absolutely.
Oh, and
we
there's
try to keep it easy.
Oh, you'll be close to me in San Diego.
I was going to ask. I was like, I think we're going down there because we haven't gone in a while to San Diego. We did LA finally this spring for the first time in like years and hope maybe again next spring. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, San Diego. Yes.
Also, okay, so you can obviously catch Christine on And That's Why We Drink. Also on Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet, which is delightful.
Really long names for podcasts.
Yeah,
I realize every time I'm like, God, people, all the words. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well,
about
Beach
that.
Too Sandy, you could abbreviate to just Beach Too Sandy.
And
People know. People know.
Is this your rival Baywatch podcast or what?
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound like it, doesn't it? I feel like you're treading in my territory, man.
Yeah, that's why it's a good guest match.
I think so.
Yeah, and then you have a second book coming out, and that's available now. You could buy it now.
That's right. Go buy it now.
All the places where books are sold.
Absolutely.
Great. We're gonna link it in the comments.
Thank you, guys. This was the most fun thing ever, and I was so nervous because I, like I said, not great with pop culture. But man, thank you for making such a beautiful, welcoming space to talk about such timely and important content.
We were delighted to have you. Thank you. And apparently you don't have to know a lot about pop culture to be on this show.
Honestly, I've set the bar very low, everyone. So as far as that, so if that's what's holding you back,
yeah,
give it a try.
I will have a prerequisite for the next guest. They have to have seen Saved by the Bell. I am just
that
saying
one.
that.
I understand, and I would have warned you about that in advance had I known it was going to be brought up. So
Yeah,
I do apologize.
I actually insist that our next guest is an elderly German grandmother.
Oh, you know what? She probably has seen Saved by the Bell, so I think that might actually be a perfect match. She's seen it in German though, dubbed probably.
Oh,
so
she's my age?
she's you did say you were pretty old, Nicole, right?
Yeah,
So,
I said I'm elder.
Yeah.
Wait, last question, Christine. Have you ever been a lifeguard?
Hell no. Oh my God. I was like not even remotely, it never even began to cross my mind. Wait, you were Nicole, right? Were
No.
both of you? No.
No,
Why
I
did
can't
I
even
think
swim.
you were? I don't know.
You can't swim?
Not well.
Oh, okay. Can you tread water?
Yeah, for how long?
Oh. I
Okay,
don't
say
know.
a man is chasing you with flippers that he's going to put on and he might murder you. Do you think you could battle
go
him
into
in
the water?
Battle him in the dark ocean.
No, I would make that a land fight for sure.
See, no wonder you were like, that was a bad idea to run into the ocean. Then you're like, anyway, I can't
Yeah.
swim. I'm like,
You're gonna
well,
drown.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Well, thank you, Christine.
This was a fun time.
This was Baywatchers.
Bye.
See ya.
End podcast.